Faith can move mountains. Radio Maria, 91.3 FM.
The voice of truth.
Hello. Good evening once more. It's 91.3 FM Radio Maria. Today we're talking about child protection, the people's program. Yes, our children, the cherished ones, the ones that we go all out for. We do all manners of jobs, not thinking about our person to ensure that they are well cared for. Why child protection? If you're tuning in for the first time, it's Madam Momoh MaryAngela, your presenter and the child's rights advocate. We're going to take a very interesting topic, which is one of the important reasons we have child protection. Why child protection? Like I asked earlier, we're talking about child protection because we say that the children have rights, and children's rights are human rights. We also say that the environment should be secure for them. The environment should be that kind of environment that will motivate the children to give us their best. We also will talk about this environment that will be peaceful for them, that will not expose them to danger. So we'll talk about a secure environment. What about those who have already been abused? What about those who have already been molested, exploited, preyed upon? What do? We throw them away, we tuck them away somewhere, we give them names? No. We think of things to do to make sure that they bounce back fully. We must show them love, call them back, help them out of the trauma, and ensure that they do not just get back, but they get better. Today we have one great guest, a special guest, to talk about the Child's Rights Act. The right, that's right, I have been singing about on this program. The children have a right. It is the children's right. Today we are going to hear what these rights are. And who's doing this? It's no other person than a great lady, Amina Hassan Audu. She's going to be telling us one or two things about herself before we take our break. Welcome to the studio,
Thank
Amina.
you so much, ma'am.
Yes. Could you tell us one or two things that you do?
Okay, thank you
Yes.
so much. Like she's already, introduced me. I'm so happy to be on air and to be part of you all. Like she rightly said already, my name is Amina Hassan Audu, and I'm a serial entrepreneur. First of all, actually, I do many things.
Great.
But this is born out of, interest in, children, interest in humans generally. And this started long ago, and even in the US. So there's a body actually that we represent here in Nigeria,
Right.
because our headquarters is in the US, and it's called the International Human Rights Service Protection.
So the right
Okay.
person for the right topic today. That's
You
great.
say so, ma.
Yes.
So we are in collaboration with the Human Rights Service Commission in Nigeria here, and so I'm one of the operatives. I'm a director of finance actually
You're
of
welcome.
the body. So I'm so happy to be here.
You're
So-
welcome. You're welcome. Thank you so much. We're
Okay.
going to take a break and then get back to the real topic, the Child's Rights Act. Don't go away. Hello, welcome back to Child's Protection on 91.3 FM Radio Maria, the voice of truth. We're going to be hearing some truth today about the rights of a child. Yes, some of us think, we are parents, after all, or we are teachers. We are lords over children. They don't have any right. I'm talking to you and you're muttering something. Great, that's rudeness, yes. But the child also has a right, when you have finished talking, to also say, hello, mom, this is my perspective. This is why I did this, or this is why I didn't do that. Or could I talk with you, mom? The children have rights, and they are human rights. So welcome once more. It's Amina Hassan Audu. Looking at our topic today, the rights of a child.
Okay.
Does a child have some rights?
Oh yeah, so many, because actually the Rights Act is divided into different sections, and most Nigerians are not even aware of these rights. Talk more of the children. So it's very important we bring it to their notice so that, they all know that just like humans, or the adults have rights, the children also have rights too as well.
Thank you very much. We've been singing it here that children have rights, and that these rights are not just to be respected, but we are to also let the children know their rights.
Yeah.
So I'm
that's
here.
it.
I'm here today, and happily I know you're driving home now with these children. Our great guest is going to tell us, both you, the adults, parents, custodians, and the children, what their rights are, talking about the Nigerian context. So, what are these rights, if I may ask?
Okay, thank you so much for this question. I'd like to say, before I go into the rights, I'd like to say that child rights was actually enacted 2003, and of course, just like it is saying, is what guarantees the rights of the children in Nigeria. So far, as we speak right now, 24 states out of 36 states, have adopted the CRA, that's the Child Right Act. So that means it's left with 12.
Yes. So
that are
please,
yet to-
sorry, I'm not interrupting, but I'm trying. Let's be calling the full meaning, because
Okay.
yeah, if we do the mnemonics and acronyms,
Okay.
some people may not
Okay,
understand.
okay.
Yes,
So
because
CRA,
yes, we have some very high ones and some very average ones or moderate ones.
okay.
Thank you.
So thank you so much, ma'am.
Welcome.
So CRA means Child Right Act.
Yeah.
Okay, just before I go into sections, this morning in the platform, because we have a team, not just in Abuja, everywhere in Nigeria, we had 2 cases. Okay, one was adult case actually. The wife was beaten. The husband is actually a bank manager, and we got the pictures. In fact, she was brutally beaten and molested. She was bleeding all over, ears,
Wow.
eyes. It's been long I've seen that kind of battery before, and somehow we're able to track it, you understand? Because actually what our body does is that we'll track it from, the sender, you understand, of these videos. Sometimes we see videos that we just, random videos.
Yes.
So we need to track it from, you understand, where it actually came from, and it was so bad. And the one that, affected the child, that it was one parent actually. I don't know what happened. I think if I could count, he beat this baby. This baby will be like 3.5 years. This baby got like 50 strokes of cane.
Wow.
We, up to now, we do not know what that child did. But of course, it's something that we're taking up. We're taking it up already as we speak. Because no child should be beaten in that manner. It's so inhumane. I mean,
Wow.
how can you beat a child that doesn't know his left or left from the right, that doesn't know anything?
That's a
They're
baby.
that's a baby already.
Yes.
You know?
So now looking at the rights now of the children, you wanted to give us some background as to the origin.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
So they divided into several sections. Okay, the first section, you understand, because of time, we can't talk on, because they're up to like 20 something sections.
Okay.
Is a lot, but we'll just talk about just some. Okay, in the first part, the section 1, it says, number 1 says the best interest of a child is paramount in all actions. So that means irrespective of if it's a legal authority, the custodian, parents, whatever, the interest of the child must come first, because the child is seen as ignorant of so many of the things. You understand? Yes. Most children have to be corrected. They live by monkey see, monkey do. It is what you do that they do.
That is it.
So if they do otherwise, that means they've seen otherwise. So you have to treat that, you understand, instead of just going and, doing all sorts of beating and all that. Okay. Then secondly, you have a child to be given protection and care necessary for his well-being. Gone are those days that you just say you just want to have children. You understand? We need to get to the point, especially in this part of the world, where you are just like the way you plan to have you buy a car, to buy a house, you must plan to have a child. You don't just bring up children into this world and just allow them to wander and fend for themselves. So the child has the right to be taken care of, especially the well-being, and to be protected too as well. Okay. So that is for the part one. Then the part two says is in different parts. Okay, it talks about the right to name. Of course, a child has the right to have a name from birth. You understand? A child must have a name. Okay. The freedom of association and peaceful assembly. A child must have that freedom of thought too, no matter how little, because they also have their little experience. They have their fears too as well. So they must be able to express it. Then they must have their thoughts too, because children also have their thought patterns. They have their conscience. So allow them as children to exercise it. If you're not okay with it, or if you feel it's not according to the norm, you understand, that is guiding your principles or your thoughts, you understand, you will correct that child in love.
Sorry, could I come in here a bit? Let me interject. When you say exercise it, you're saying they should express it.
Yes.
Good.
They should express it.
Okay.
So it's now you as the custodian, as the parent, or legal authority, because there are some children in motherless homes and stuff like that.
Yes.
So there are also authorities too also. So you must let them exercise it first, and then you now correct them. You understand? In love. Very important.
Very, very important.
Okay. So there's also right to private and family life, because we all know that the good environment, family setting is a good environment for children to actually grow and thrive and think. You understand? So they also have the right to that also. So freedom of movement, that one is so easy. Allow the children to play and let them have recreation. You understand? It is their right.
But interestingly enough, do you know it's one of the most compromised rights?
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
We know that. Most children are limited, actually.
Very, very limited.
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay. So we have several of them. Right to healthcare services. You understand? For you to, when you have children, you must plan for them, plan their health. You can take NHIS, you plan their health, their state of health. It must be, they must be at the state of, healthy, all the time. Okay. Then you have child with special needs also. You also have a right. They didn't beg to be how they were or how they came out. You understand? It's still your duty to also give them care and love.
Thank you. Please, I would want you to also please explain, to some of the listeners out there, who a special need child is, because some people don't even know that their children are special need children, and then they begin to tag them, Olodo, this and that. But the child is just slow due to what you just said.
Yes.
So
yes.
just one or two things on a special need child before we move on.
Okay. First of all, there are some children, just like you said, some children are slow, and
due to no fault of theirs.
No fault of theirs. And so at the point they could be better, but because of that, hounding and comparing them to this, to child A, child B, it just demoralizes them and they never just get up. You understand? So in that case, they have a right. You have to also, coach them, teach them, be patient with them in love.
And even there are medications for some of them.
There are also medications,
yes,
for some of them.
So they need some medical attention.
Yes, because I've seen some children even catch up. And even,
very well.
Yes, in later years.
And most of them, if you find out too, most of them are highly talented.
Yes.
There's something God deposits in them to make up for whatever deficiency
some
is
they
there.
Could be very good. I've seen some very good in instrument.
Yes.
Maybe they'll play the piano very
so well. Yes.
And so many other things, because we just believe that every child is gifted.
That's it.
Every child has a seed of greatness in them. You just need to be patient enough to discover it. You understand? Yes. So that's it.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Tuma. So in part 3, I'll just talk about, because this place is so interesting. This part is very interesting, okay? You have prohibition of child marriage, okay? No child should get married.
And when you say child, from what age to what age are they considered children?
Okay. Of course, naturally 0 to 18.
Good. As from 18, we say they can now vote.
They can now vote.
They can now be voted for.
But I know, my Hausa people do not agree, because they feel, children or a girl can get married from 12, 13, but it's something that I never agree to. That's the truth. Apologies to whoever is listening, but that is it.
No, generally people are even beginning to grasp with that fact,
Yes.
because we're talking about the preparation now. Is the preparedness of the body.
And that is why they have so many,
Issues.
Issues, you understand?
VVF and so on
is on the increase.
Yes, because the child's body is not ready.
And most of them even die during childbirth, actually.
It's really not anybody's fault that has come in, but we're beginning to see the need to change now our understanding as we grow and get to know more about the physiology and of the body.
Anatomy.
The girl child. It's necessary for us to begin to also adjust to, not just even your Hausa people, even in Christendom. You talk about children who are given out to maybe a mother-in-law to be there while betrothed, and at the end of the day, this man takes this child. Some of them gets too much in a hurry. They are not there allowing the child to mature and get to that point where the consummation of the marriage will take place. So such a child now gets completely destroyed, I would say.
Yes. So in that case, you understand, if we get to hear about this kind of, you can make a case. You understand? Because there is that section, you understand, that speaks for them. It's all about the voice, just like this Radio Maria is all about the voice of truth, right?
Yes.
So this is moment of truth. Okay?
Yes. True.
So it also talks about child labor. Understand? You see people, saying, oh, because they're trying to make ends meet, the economy, whatever. A child of 5, 6 is hawking bread, mangoes, different things.
On the street from morning till night.
It is not allowed.
No guidance, no care.
A child in that age is supposed to be in school.
Yes.
See, many of them are not in school. Understand? And then they're also subject to, predators, actually. You understand? They can just be molested, especially the girls, especially. Even boys are also molested, but of course, the women or the girls are more vulnerable. They are raped.
Yes.
You understand? You see so many even pre-teenage pregnancies because they are hawking. You understand? So this part protects them.
Could I say one or two things here too,
Yes,
Amina?
Yes,
the Nigerian educational system has placed the right of a child to education in a very, very straightforward perspective.
That's true.
That the child, has the 6-3-3-4 educational system, but it is compulsory for every child in Nigeria, every Nigerian child, to do the 6-3, at least get the junior secondary school certificate.
Yes.
So it's also the right of the child.
It is
to have education.
Yes, it is.
Basically,
because we're even getting to that actually.
Okay.
Basic education. Okay, so I'll just talk about that then even up to tattoos. You understand? Tribal marks. Honestly, I never knew about this until I became part of this humble family. That even drawing marks, those tribal marks, it is not allowed. It is because they usually you should seek their consent before you give them marks, because usually most times when they grow up, they
feel
unhappy,
very bad about it,
and it affects their esteem throughout their lives, except those who can do surgeries to actually reduce the the
visibility of that.
That's the word.
Yes.
Visibility of the marks, but most of the time it affects their esteem. So a child doesn't deserve that. So I did not know about this until I got into this. Okay, then of course exposure, drug trafficking. We all know that these days you hear cases of people trafficking drugs through children. You make them swallow stuff and feel they can pass the borders because they're kids. You understand? So that is highly prohibited. Abduction, you understand, and exploitative labor. You understand? It's also part of it. And then of course, forms of sexual abuse and exploitation. You understand? And that is why, when I see people carrying girl children, my uncle this, that, sit on the lap, all those things, that is how it starts. You understand? I honestly do not agree that girl children should, you know, should be in a situation where they are vulnerable. You should protect them, even the boys. You understand? But why we also always talk about the girls, because they are more vulnerable. You understand? Because of their male species everywhere and all that. Okay, so that talks about it. Then the part 4 of it accesses, you know, different things, other areas about the children. Okay, like emergency protection orders. You understand?
Yeah, before we take the part 4, I want us to take a break.
Okay.
So we'll get back to part 4
Okay.
once we come back from the break. Please
Okay.
stay tuned. Don't go away.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much. In case you're just tuning in, it's Child Protection on 91.3 FM Radio Maria. And right here with you is a child rights advocate, Madame Momoh. And we have our wonderful guest, Amina Hassan Audu, talking on the rights of the child. In other words, the Child's Rights Act, the way we have put it in Nigeria, and the government is not playing with this.
Oh, yes.
They are all out. Be sure that you are not a predator. Be sure you are not a child abuser. Be sure that they are not abusive, because you could be picked up not even by the reports of your child, but by some whistleblower somewhere, or some child's rights activist who feels you have overstepped your bounds. It's no longer game as usual. So we're going to be getting back to our guests to tell us about the 4th part.
Okay, before I get into part 4, I would like to just appreciate Madam Momoh. Honestly, this is amazing, because it's with this platform like this that people get to know about things like this. I mean, you know, children have rights. So thank you so much for the good works you're doing, Mommy. God continue to increase you,
Welcome.
the strength,
Thank
and
you.
increase your life.
Thanks, amen.
You'll be rewarded for this. Honestly, this is
Amen.
amazing. I'm so
Thank
thrilled
you.
to be on this show, truly.
Yeah.
So the part 4.
Yeah,
actually,
sorry, I forgot to give out the numbers because it's interactive at this point.
that's true. That's
So
true.
let me just give out the numbers quickly,
Okay.
and then you could give us a part 4. I'm just
Sure.
sorry about that. So you'll be calling in on 081 084 475 18. Would want you to partake in this. It's very important to participate. Tell us your views, send us SMS, talk to us on WhatsApp, and ensure that you're part of this. So we're talking to ourselves. We're all learning. And back to you again, great guest.
Okay, thank you so much. So this part 4 clearly just states, you know, the rights in the case of governing bodies. You understand?
Okay.
In case there's any issue, you understand that children must, you know, be, once it's a child abuse case or whatever, it must be treated as urgent. Treated as urgent. Okay, so we have things like disclosure of whereabouts, for example, for children who may be in need of emergency protection. Okay, so it's duty for the legal authorities or custodians to always know the whereabouts of children. Very important, because the times we're in are very, you know, are very dangerous, very wicked.
Very, very.
Understand? People just take advantage. That is what we see every day. And so it's very, very important. It's very, you know, very, very key for you to know where your children are at any given point in time. Okay. And then we have abduction of children in care. Okay, so such children, you understand, when you have cases like that, you need to just take it as urgent. You know, the authorities must take it as urgent. Okay, refuge of children at risk. For example, like we got a distress call this morning for the parent or the father that was beating the baby. You understand? The onus lies on us and also the government authorities to treat as urgent, because that child may even have some internal injury and may even die later on.
Yeah.
You understand? But once you get cases like that, because it's a child case, you understand, it needs to be treated as urgent. That's the whole idea. Okay, so we also have the rules and regulations under this, you know, part 4. Okay, power of certain persons to bring children in need and care and protection before a court case. If there's any case, it just means that any case regarding children, you understand, must be taken to court. And even in the court, there must not be a delay. Because we all know that, it will also affect the mental state of the child.
Sure.
So the shorter the case duration is, the better for the child, because the child is able to win and get over before the child goes into therapy or whatever. I'm talking about cases like rape and stuff like that. Okay, so once it's brought to the court, it must be treated as urgent. The case duration must be short. Okay, so that's what this explains. So, power of the court to order the parent, you understand, to contribute to maintenance. Okay, like for example, you have, people who are maybe separated or divorced, for example, and because there's the issue like that, everybody just hands off. You understand? Or especially the father just hands off because they're no longer together. It's absolutely wrong. Whether you're together or not, they must be responsible for the upbringing of that child. They must contribute their quota, because provided you have decided to bring a child to this world, that child has that right. That is what the Child Right Act is all about. Is the act that governs the freedoms, you understand, and standards from the birth of the child till death. That's what the Child Right Act is all about. So provided you have brought this child to this world, the child deserves to be taken care of.
Interestingly enough, we had a topic just last week or this, last week. We're talking about displaced aggression.
Yeah.
You have a problem with your wife or with your husband, and then you let out everything on the child. So I love this point now, and I'm sure that parents out there are listening to know that the child is not the grass on which you wrestle.
Exactly.
Their rights are still to be upheld.
Oh, yes.
Otherwise, you're liable.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. They deserve love. And then we have also cases of incest. That's another thing that is also,
That
biting.
is ravaging.
Yes, that is ravaging. Understand, is a menace right now. And we need to do everything we can. If you see any iota of incest, we disabuse it. We do not allow it, because before we know it, you understand, it will grow into something that will be like a pandemic. It is so common in many schools, in many homes, environments.
Particularly,
yes,
people that are supposed to be the custodians of the child are the ones sexually abusing them.
Sexually abusing them. You see fathers, sexually abusing their daughters,
Relations, cousins.
uncles, cousins. It is so common. You understand? So once we have cases like this, it also, they're also protected in this act. Okay, so basically it touches on so many things, but because of time, maybe we just allow the questions to come in.
Yeah, sometimes too, network might not be it, so we'll continue talking, but we're going to still remind our listeners out there that we have this number for you to call in on: 081 084 475 18. 081 084 475 18. And as we move along, your calls are going to be attended to. Now, we talked about the right to a name of a child.
Beautiful.
A child has right to a name. Could you just expatiate on that a bit?
Okay.
Because all of these registrations, NIN, all of certificates, and all of the identification certificates, the first thing is a name.
Yeah.
So, not giving a name to a child is an abuse.
It's an abuse, actually.
Good to know.
You understand?
Yes.
And some people, like, there's one culture that they call their children maybe A, as in, you'll be wondering what's the child's name. It's totally wrong. A child has the right to name, because the name forms the first identity
Exactly.
of a human being, of that child. And that is what, the child is going to be known for. your name first before your attributes and what defines you. You understand? So a child has the right to be named. So once you have a child, you know that you don't do name. You don't even have to do naming if you don't give that child name and register it. Because it's not just to name. You have to. The child also right to name also includes that
Documented.
it's documented. Must have a birth certificate with the government authorities stating the name, the height, the color of hair, so many things are written on that certificate. So that child has that right. So that's it.
We heard you say the child has right to health.
Yes.
Could you also expatiate on that?
Okay, thank you so much for this question. Okay, right to health means that a child has that right to have access to medical facilities. Okay, gone are those days that you just do self-medication and all that, because we've seen many people do self-medication for children, and then before you know it, the child just passes on. You understand? So children have that right to have access to
proper medical care.
Yes, proper medical care.
Some of them run away from vaccinations.
Yes.
Immunizations.
Exactly, immunizations. You understand? We have that one is so common, especially in the north. You understand? They believe is a taboo or is a myth and stuff like that. So they don't do it. You understand? You are endangering the life of that child. So every child must have that access, and that is why these days there are so many ways that can ease the suffering. Okay, there are payment plans for healthcare. There's NHIS. There's so many of them. There are independent bodies.
Yeah, I like that bit. Yes, please. Could you talk on that? That's the insurance part of it.
Yes.
So the burden, the financial burden is less. In a state or community where you don't have free medical care for children.
Yes.
They could resort to that.
They could resort to that.
Okay.
Yes. They could just pay. Usually, what they do is that they just pay a sum, a token, actually. And so most times, why it's called an insurance, because most times the children might not always fall sick. So, but peradventure they fall sick, you fall back on that token that you have, I won't say invested, that you have kept to take care of the unforeseen.
Yeah, it's sure. To me, it's a wise investment because it's little for so much.
Oh yes.
And you put that there, you have a lot of services at your disposal.
Oh yes.
Eye care, teeth, physical, all of them put together, so that you don't really have to bear all the burden when something just comes up.
Something happens.
Yes.
You understand?
Okay.
And most hospitals, even private hospitals, government hospitals, they also accept this. You understand? And communities, there are even other Christian bodies, like, you understand, I know Catholic churches, they do also, subsidize, medical, facilities for children. So basically, every child has the right to health facilities.
I'm sure we are hearing that, listeners out there. That's the reason for child protection as a program. So you get informed and get equipped. Knowledge is also power. So today you're hearing that you could do insurance for your children. Sure, they have different packages. The family insurance is always the best.
Yes.
So that wherever your child is, the hospitals are there on the list whenever you enroll for the NHIS and other forms of health insurance.
Yes.
Even the banks are doing that now.
Yes,
they have packages for such.
Yes.
It's important to me because I've seen a lot of parents who take their children to, they call it chemists. And then they have these ones that hawk the whatever the combination in the market.
Yes.
They will put about 3-4 analgesics together and give to the woman to give to the child.
Yes.
And all that. A lot of child mortality due to either ignorance, carelessness, poverty, and all that.
The rest of them. And the danger is that most of them, these drugs or medications, are even expired.
True.
Some are fake.
Most of them
are even fake.
My goodness.
So they endanger the lives of these children. Okay, so that is why, in terms of health facility, you must go to the, designated, places.
Yes. Amina, there's something that I think we need to talk about here on the rights to movement.
Okay.
The right to movement of a child, like you said, that the child's consent is also needed, isn't
Yes,
it?
yes, yes,
But
yes.
some of these children are trafficked. I heard, of a route where the children are moved at night, where they cannot see, they do not even know, they're put into canoes, by water and boats and all of that. And then they move them to places so far away that they also arrive at night, so that the children don't even know where they are. They will just tell you, now this you're behaving this way and this way. Is this your mother? No, ma. She's my mommy. She's not my mother, but she's my mommy. So now that
says
she's
something.
yes, you begin to wonder, not my mother, my mommy. Then you pry further. So how did you get here? My uncle brought me. Where's your mother? She will call one remote name that you've never heard, maybe not even around this part of the world.
Yes.
They will tell you about maybe somewhere from Benin Republic, Togo, or they're telling you somewhere from maybe the east and they're in the north, or from the north and they're in the east. And then these traffickers just feed on these children. Ironically and interestingly enough, if you find out, parents also traffic their own children. Am I right?
Yes, they do. Because of poverty, they want to in exchange for money. You
Okay.
understand? And some of these parents are, if you ask me, they are lazy parents.
Good.
You understand? Because if you look at it, how much does a child wants to eat and stuff like that? But because they just want that stipend, you understand, to come from not doing doing little or nothing, they rather, go for the option of trafficking the children. And the case is alarming these days. You see many children find themselves in different parts of the world that they didn't plan for. They're
my
either
God.
being, as house help, as little as 9, 10,
Child
they're already
labor,
doing child labor.
exploiting them. Even some are
Exploiting them.
exploited sexually.
Exploited sexually.
Oh my goodness.
You understand?
So we're hearing parents that having to push your child out because you want to make some stipends, you want a particular child to serve other children. You want when these children are sent out, I hear, they don't even see a dime.
Yes.
The money is paid into their parents' account,
Yes.
or into the account of whoever trafficked them.
Yes.
And then that person remits part of it, not even all, to the parents of that
Parents
child.
of that child.
And the parent tells you, because I born them many. Says who?
Says who?
There are people who have just one child. They cannot take care of the child.
Yes.
And I know of mothers and fathers that have taken care of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 children, all graduates, well cared for, right? So good, we are hearing it today from our guest that it is wrong to traffic your child for whatever reason.
Yes.
And it is most of the time laziness. Yes, talk about poverty. Well, in Nigeria, apart from a handful of people, I don't know how many people are not really poor, because you lack something somewhere, and that's ripping you off of certain needs and all that.
Really.
But you can't come under the guise of poverty and then you send your child to nowhere. Because if you ask the mother now, please, madam, where is this child? That's Oga, take him, saying go give me money. Take him, and you don't know. Have you ever visited that child? No. Does the child come home? No. Where is the child? What are they doing with the child? What is the child doing there? You don't know. And then some will tell you, they say the child will go to school. They will put the child in school. There's a case we're handling right now on my platform. A child was taken from the parents since the beginning of the year. They promised to send that child to school. That was the reason the parents released the child, in quotes. And up till today, that child is not in school. So this whistleblower felt terrible about it, went online, found my NGO, and called me to say, madam, there's a case around me that ignorance is not an excuse, but I have already told the man that it is wrong and this is going to happen. Behold, that parent will tell you, will justify what he or she has done, with the fact that the child was promised education. Have you ever visited? Have you spoken with your child? Are you allowed to talk to your child? No. So even if it is poverty, compassion should be there.
Exactly.
There should be empathy for your child. You'll be missing your child. Hello, there's a call there. Good. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, please.
This is Hello the ancestor. I'm calling from
Sorry, I didn't get the name.
Hello Chuku.
Hello,
The
Chuku.
ancestor.
Okay. Okay, the ancestor. Welcome again. Welcome to Child Protection.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Let me first of all thank the person in the studio and the
Our
Radio Maria.
guests. Yes.
Yes, our
Thank you
guest
so
and the
much.
station.
Thank you.
But the station always comes up with a program that educates and enlightens people.
Thank you very much.
I must also thank the NAPTI. I think there was a time she was narrating. Maybe I'm not sure whether it's what I watched. Something that happened in Anambra where somebody are made to death, something like that.
Okay.
And I think it was Napsi. When I was watching it, it was the same Napsi that either somebody alerted came and they dragged the woman to the bush where she kept the dead body.
Oh, wow.
NAPTIP is doing a great job there.
Okay,
A lot.
I saw it. I saw that yesterday.
Yeah, go ahead. I said NAPTIP is doing a great job. Yes.
Yeah. It's one of the government agencies that, honestly, I have seen a lot they have done.
They are working.
And I want to encourage them to do more because, see, I don't know what is happening these days. When we were growing up, some of us who grew up in the village anyway.
Yeah.
Every child is everybody's child, and any parent can discipline you. Any parent at all, once they see you doing something, they don't care whether you know them, whether they know you. They don't care whether they know your parents. If they know your parents, it's even worse because they will discipline you
and go back home
and report to your parents.
Yes.
And then your parents will finish the job. But these days, all these things started when even some parents go to school to quarrel and beat up their
children's teachers.
So, yes, a lot of things are happening. So people are even afraid to correct children. People are afraid to ask some questions. You see a child, sometimes you are not even sure whether the person with him or her is the parent, but you are even afraid. So many things are happening. But I thank God that some courageous Nigerians are still doing this work, and NAPTIP especially. So you keep up doing good work. God will pay you.
Thank
I know
you.
it's not easy. I know most times you may, come in contact with some things that are not even palatable. But then we are trying to save the future.
Yes.
Children are the future.
Yes. For the good of humanity.
For the good of everybody.
Yes.
So if you say child, there is no amount of resources, there's no amount of effort, there's no amount of time spent on a child that is wasted.
Thank
So
you.
I thank you. May God continue to strengthen you.
Amen. Thank you, ancestor.
Thank you so
nice
much.
one there. Yes.
So nice.
Yeah. So we continue.
Yes.
We're looking at trafficking.
Yes. That's the topic of the day.
Is there any justification for trafficking? And we know that some people have not just trafficked their children to say, I know they are going to Asaba, Onitsha, or Kano. The child knows nowhere he's going to. And he's not even, hello, there's a call, sorry.
Okay.
Yes, hello. Please, could you reduce the volume of your radio? Good evening, sir. Reduce the volume of your radio, please.
Yeah, I've done that.
Okay.
My name is Daniel.
Yes, thank you. Welcome, Daniel.
Yeah, I like your topic this evening.
Okay. Sorry, please. Could you tell us where you're calling from?
I'm calling from Lightcom right now.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, the issue is that you are talking about parents selling their children because of poverty. I disagree with that.
They claim.
I disagree with that. Parents, mother can sell her child because of poverty.
My dear.
If any mother does that, she's not really a mother. You understand? One thing about life is that majority of us are not born with silver spoons. You understand?
Yes.
Majority of us are not born with silver spoons. We pass through hell before we become what we are today. You understand? Our mom passed through hell before she made us who we are today. And likewise us that we have been trained well will never allow our children You understand?
Yes.
Any person who is selling out his children because of poverty, that person must be sick. You understand? It's just, and the other way around, you see, we talk about education too, enlightenment. That is why sometimes we talk about family couples trying to know the number of children you can take care of.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? Back in the days where I remember from Igbo, I remember those governors that normally say that nobody knows that our parents should keep on having children, telling us that nobody knows the one that will be a king.
Gone are those days.
I do remember.
Gone are those days. Excuse me.
Oh my goodness.
Those eras have gone.
Sure.
Sure.
And you must bring, you must take care of, you must know the number of children you are able to take care of,
Mm-hmm.
and you bring them to the world.
Yes.
If that, you must put all those things into consideration. And if unfortunately you have the one that you can't train, you make sure there are many kids out there for you to make money. I remember those days, even our mom would sell something to take care of us. You understand? And I didn't think any parents should allow us to sell our children or teach our children because of money. I think it was the good work you guys are doing. It's just all about enlightenment, information out there, telling them the need. How can your daughter tell you that she's traveling outside of the country without know any good information?
That's it.
People will not live. You see some people live village. And I met a girl one day.
Yes.
I was asking her. She was trying to go to Dega and she didn't have transport.
Okay.
When I asked, now come and tell me, brother, please, that she's going to Dega. Like she didn't have transport.
Okay.
I said, where are you trekking from? She was telling me that she's trekking from Karimo to Dabi.
Oh my goodness.
Which work are you doing? She's saying she's helping a woman working. I said, then are you helping a woman working? And you are here trekking.
Okay.
She was asking, who are you staying with? She said she's staying with a friend. How comes? You
Okay.
just leave your village without knowing anybody. You just come
to Abuja and start plucking money from the trees.
And that is how she will fall into the wrong hands.
Oh, sure. Many of them have fallen victims.
That is what we need to more educate. Thank you for this program. You people
Welcome.
keep it up.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. We appreciate that call.
Honestly.
Yes, because the truth is that ignorance is another sickness altogether. It's a disease. And it's good for us to know the implications of these things we do. You brought a child to the world, like we said, that children are responsibility gifts. They are responsibility gifts. You don't give birth to them and then you are counting. I have 14 children. My cousin will take this. My nephew will take this.
Exactly.
My brother will take this. I'm giving birth to these children because of the family.
Yes.
You don't know. I have big brothers and my rich brothers. That era has passed. You say, you know exactly, don't bite more than you can chew.
Exactly.
And the interesting part is the average African family does not even just take care of their own biological children. There's room for cousins and relations to even come in. And such families, they do well.
Sure.
So you can't say because you have 2 or 3 children, you are poor, and as such, you want to traffic your children. Family, the charity we enjoy in our community is great and should be sustained. But you bring up these children only to throw them to nowhere, and you never check. I'm sure, thank God for our guest, Amina, that's here, that you already are hearing this, that these children, by the time they are brought to you, those parents who will give out their children without knowing where the children are taken to and never visit those children should also be liable.
Exactly. They should
What do you say?
Yes, I completely agree. They should be liable because just like it's stated in the part 3,
Good.
you understand?
Yes.
You must know the whereabouts of your children.
For crying out loud.
You must know where they're up to, what they're up to, what they are doing. Because they can just be, they're vulnerable at that stage or at that age.
Very vulnerable.
You understand? And it could just
Helpless.
lead to an untimely death. Many die in the process. Okay? Like the other caller that called before this other man.
Yes.
Okay, look at that child that was murdered, okay? the madam or or her principal,
Yes.
you understand, claimed that she beat her, she convulsed, she took her to the hospital, and then she died. She died, she did not communicate that to her parents. She did not inform the authorities. She did not inform the police. She took it upon herself, took that child to the bush, and buried the child.
She will have to pay for it anyway.
Exactly.
Hello? There's a call there. Thank you. Hello?
Good evening.
Good evening. Sorry, we'll have to be very brief now because time is really running out.
Okay.
Yes.
This is Mrs. James. This is Jack from Lugbe.
Mrs. who?
Mrs. James.
Mrs. James from Lugbe. Welcome, Mrs. James. How's Lugbe?
I just want to contribute that the country is now that we have to choose new leaders. We need to choose good leaders because the government has a lot to play in this matter.
Mm-hmm.
When the economy is very sticky, the economy is very bad, and there's no money around flowing. Poverty is so much in the land. These are the things that take a key for. So the government, our government will try as soon as possible to provide funds for the youth and get the environment to be conducive so that poverty will not force people to do what they don't want to do. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we're happy also that the government has to play their role.
Oh, yes.
And
I completely
our
agree.
social system has to be overhauled.
Oh, yes.
And even for some of these people, some of these children we're talking about, it's a big problem for me to handle the cases of incest, because for you to handle the case of incest, you need to separate the child from the perpetrator.
Yes.
The perpetrator is supposed to be the custodian,
Yes.
of the child's safety, and that
yes.
is the one that is
Taking
preying on
advantage,
the child.
preying on the
So you
child.
can't be
Right.
handling that case and still leave the child within that kind of environment. But where do you where's the place for incest survivors to be taken to? So all of these are the things we have to look at. We must make sure that we're planning our manifestos and putting into cognizance these points. I was reading something before this program, because normally I will research. Before you came in, I said, okay, I would have to look at this. Although Amina is coming in here to tell us this much, and I'm happy she did, I need to know what obtains in other countries. And if you go to Canada, just type in the Child's Rights Act or Child's Rights in Canada, you will see the first thing you see there is child first.
Yes, child first.
And Canada is known as the world's second most child-friendly country in the world. We can beat that.
Yes.
We can beat that. Sorry, that's about all we can take today. Once again, we want to welcome our guest, Amina Hassan Audu. Thanks for doing justice to this topic. You just came in at the right time with the right resources for us to hear. And I want to hear us now changing our attitudes on this. Thank you very much. We're saying goodbye for today. It's going to be in 2 minutes. We'll be talking about the Angelus. Bye-bye.
Wow.